The American Senate just witnessed something nobody expected. Reports suggest that 18 senators from the Republican side joined forces with 51 Democrats today to move forward with removing Donald Trump from office. This could be the first time ever that members of a president's own political team are trying to push him out while he's still leading the country. This isn't just about disagreements or politics as usual. Sources indicate that a group from both parties is coming together over claims so shocking that even senators who always stood by Trump are now saying he should go. Analysts believe this all started after a secret government meeting where information was shared that Trump's strongest supporters are calling extremely troubling. When the Republican Senate leader, who usually keeps everyone in line, decides to work with the other side on removing the president, something major has changed. Make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss what happens next. So what caused this massive shift? According to several senators who were in a classified meeting on January 20th, intelligence officers showed evidence suggesting Trump may have given highly secret military information to another country's representatives in return for help with his personal business deals. Senators from both sides are calling this a clear violation of his duties and promises to the nation. People familiar with the meeting say the evidence includes recorded conversations, money transfer records, and statements from national security workers who saw what happened. This isn't another case driven by political fighting or different opinions about policies. Legal experts are saying this is the biggest danger to a sitting president since the Watergate scandal decades ago. And here's the thing. When Republican senators who voted to protect Trump during two previous removal attempts are now leading the effort to push him out, you know something devastating has broken the party apart. Let me walk you through everything that's been happening. Problems have been growing since early January when the Senate Intelligence Committee, run by Chairman Mark Warner and Vice Chairman Marco Rubio, started looking into unauthorized sharing of classified secrets. But everything exploded on January 20th when the full Senate got a mandatory classified briefing about what intelligence officers described as serious and immediate dangers to national security coming from actions by the president's office. The briefing happened in the Senate Secure Room and was led by Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines and NSA Director Timothy Hoff. It went on for 4 hours and left senators from both parties looking deeply worried. According to senators who talked to reporters right after, the briefing detailed a pattern of behavior over 6 months where Trump allegedly gave classified intelligence about American military abilities in the South China Sea to foreign government representatives in exchange for approval of Trump Organization building projects worth around $2 billion. The intelligence shown reportedly included decoded messages between Trump and foreign officials, money movements tracked by Treasury Department investigators, and sworn statements from 4 different national security officials who reported what they saw through proper whistleblower systems. What makes this especially explosive is the type of intelligence allegedly shared. According to Senator Angus King, who leads a cybersecurity subcommittee, the classified information Trump allegedly revealed puts ongoing military missions at risk, exposes intelligence gathering methods that took decades to build, and endangers human sources whose lives are now in danger. This wasn't about political disagreements over foreign policy or even bad judgment. This was about allegations that the president traded national security secrets for personal money. Hit that like button if this is making sense so far. Here's where things get really serious. Within 2 hours after the classified briefing ended, Republican Senator Mitt Romney called an emergency meeting of what he called concerned Republicans in a secure conference room. According to staff members who were outside in the hallway, 17 Republican senators came to that meeting, including Senate Majority Whip John Thune, Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham, Senator Marco Rubio, Senator Lisa Murkowski, Senator Susan Collins, Senator Bill Cassidy, and Senator Todd Young. The meeting went on for 90 minutes, and what happened inside, according to several senators who later spoke privately, was described as the most emotional and important gathering of Republican senators in modern times. Senator Romney started the meeting by saying clearly, according to sources who heard his words, "We have just seen evidence that the president has betrayed his promises for personal profit. If we don't act, we become part of that betrayal. History will judge us by what we do in the next 48 hours. The room went quiet. Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been one of Trump's strongest defenders, reportedly stood up and said, his voice shaking, "Mitt is right. I've defended this president through everything. I've explained away behavior that made me uncomfortable because I believed he was working toward real policy goals. But what we saw in that briefing room, that's not politics. That's not policy disagreement. That's betrayal by any reasonable definition." According to senators present, Graham's statement immediately changed the mood in the room. Senator Marco Rubio, who sits on the Intelligence Committee and has access to even more detailed information, reportedly added, "The intelligence cannot be denied. There are recorded conversations, there are financial records, there are witnesses who will speak up. If we don't impeach for this, we're saying there's nothing a president can't do. Drop a comment right now if you saw this coming." I read every single one. Now things get absolutely explosive. By 8 p.m. that evening, the group of Republican senators had written articles of impeachment. This is an extraordinary step because impeachment traditionally starts in the House. But according to Senator Romney, who later explained the decision in a press conference, the House is controlled by Republicans who have shown they won't hold this president accountable. The Senate has a duty under the Constitution to act when we have direct knowledge of serious crimes. We are doing our duty. The articles of impeachment released to the public at midnight on January 21st contain two charges. Article 1 claims betrayal of national security for personal gain, specifically charging that Trump knowingly and purposely disclosed classified intelligence about United States military abilities and operations to representatives of a foreign power in exchange for business benefits helping Trump Organization businesses. Article 2 claims blocking of congressional oversight, charging that Trump directed government officials to hide information from Congress about the disclosures and told witnesses to refuse congressional demands to testify. But the truly devastating part of the impeachment articles is what's included in the supporting documents. The articles reference a classified attachment, a sealed document that contains specific evidence available only to senators with proper security clearances. However, the public parts of the articles quote heavily from declassified parts of intelligence reports. One paragraph states, "On August 12, 2024, during a meeting at the president's private club, intercepted communications revealed the president disclosed to a foreign official the exact capabilities and locations of specific intelligence collection systems, information classified at the top secret level, in exchange for foreign government approval of a Trump Organization development project." Another paragraph details money flows, noting that on August 15, 2024, wire transfers totaling $847 million were started from organizations controlled by a foreign government to accounts connected with Trump Organization projects, transfers that investigators concluded represent exchange payments. This move sent shockwaves through Washington and the nation. When Republican senators write impeachment articles against a Republican president using classified intelligence as proof, and when those articles include specific dates, dollar amounts, and descriptions of classified materials allegedly shared, the political situation has completely changed. This isn't the first time Trump has faced impeachment, but the circumstances are completely different. During the first impeachment over Ukraine, House Democrats led the process, and Senate Republicans dismissed the charges as political attacks. Only Romney voted to convict. The parties stayed together. Then came the second impeachment after January 6th. 7 Republican senators voted to convict, the most bipartisan vote in history, but nowhere near the 2/3 needed. Most Republicans argued the behavior didn't meet the constitutional standard. Subscribe immediately if you haven't yet. This content doesn't exist anywhere else. Now it's completely different. This impeachment is led by Republican senators themselves. The allegations involve concrete intelligence evidence, not disputed testimony. The charges include sharing classified information for personal financial gain. And 18 Republican senators have already committed to conviction, with 8 to 10 more considering joining. The pattern is clear. Trump survived previous impeachments through party loyalty. But when evidence involves verifiable intelligence, recorded conversations, and financial records showing personal profit from sharing military secrets, even political loyalty has limits. So what exactly triggered this mass Republican switch? According to senators who have spoken publicly and officials familiar with the briefing materials, 3 specific pieces of evidence proved decisive. First, intercepted communications between Trump and foreign officials. The NSA presented senators with decoded transcripts of phone calls and encrypted messages where Trump allegedly discussed classified information. According to Senator Angus King, there are communications where the president clearly states he is sharing information that he acknowledges is classified, and where he clearly connects that sharing to business deals he wants approved. The intercepts reportedly include Trump using specific code words for classified programs, showing he knew exactly what he was sharing. Second, financial records showing exchange payments. Treasury Department financial intelligence investigators traced wire transfers totaling $2.3 billion between foreign organizations and Trump Organization accounts or projects over a 6-month period. According to Senator Elizabeth Warren, the pattern is clear. Classified disclosure happens, then within days, massive financial transfers occur. This pattern repeats across multiple incidents. The Treasury investigation reportedly identified 11 separate instances where this pattern occurred. Here's the absolute kicker. The third piece of evidence involves testimony from national security officials who witnessed the behavior and reported it through proper whistleblower channels. 4 separate officials, including 2 military officers, 1 NSA analyst, and 1 White House national security staff member, filed protected disclosures describing instances where Trump discussed sharing or actually shared classified information in situations they recognized as potentially connected to business interests. One whistleblower report, parts of which were declassified and included in the impeachment articles, describes a September 2024 meeting where Trump allegedly told advisors, "They want to know about our satellite capabilities. I'll tell them what they want to know if they approve the Jakarta project. Don't go anywhere. The most explosive part is coming next." And here's what should alarm everyone, regardless of political views. This isn't just about Trump or this specific alleged behavior. If a president can trade classified military intelligence for personal business deals and face no consequences because his party controls enough Senate votes to prevent conviction, the constitutional system of checks and balances has effectively died. Once that precedent is set, future presidents of either party will understand they can make money from their access to classified information for personal gain as long as they keep enough political support. The implications for national security are catastrophic. This puts Trump in an absolutely impossible political and legal position. On one side, he faces impeachment proceedings with support from both parties in the Senate, meaning he could actually be convicted and removed from office if enough Republicans join the 18 who have already committed. That would make him the first president in American history to be removed through impeachment. On the other side, he faces evidence that senators on the Intelligence Committee describe as impossible to deny, meaning denying the allegations, becomes increasingly difficult as more details come out. And here's the impossible situation. If Trump claims he didn't share classified information, he directly contradicts recorded conversations that senators say clearly show him doing exactly that. If he admits sharing information but claims it was for legitimate policy reasons, he faces the financial record showing personal payments that Treasury investigators describe as exchange payments. If he claims presidential authority to declassify anything, he still faces the allegation that he did so for personal profit, which violates his oath regardless of declassification authority. There's no defense strategy that addresses all three pieces of evidence at the same time. Constitutional scholars and former officials are calling this the most serious constitutional crisis since Watergate, and potentially more serious. Lawrence Tribe, Harvard constitutional law professor, stated on CNN that if the allegations are proven, this represents the most clear-cut, removable offense in American history. The founders specifically feared presidents who would abuse their position for personal gain and betray national security. This is exactly the scenario they designed impeachment to address. Former CIA Director John Brennan told NBC that the alleged behavior would represent not just removable offenses, but potentially criminal violations of spy laws. Sharing classified information in exchange for personal payments is exactly what we charge foreign spies for doing. He emphasized that if a CIA officer engaged in identical behavior, they would face decades in prison. Do me a favor and slam that like button, because it genuinely helps this video reach more people. Even Republicans who have consistently defended Trump acknowledge the seriousness of the allegations. Former Attorney General William Barr, who served in Trump's administration, wrote in an opinion piece that while he has defended the president's actions in many situations, the allegations described in the impeachment articles, if proven, would represent a fundamental betrayal of the presidential oath. No person, regardless of party, should excuse such behavior. So let's break down what this means. First, unprecedented political chaos. The Senate is paralyzed conducting impeachment proceedings. All legislative business stops, confirmations halt, spending bills stall, the government grinds to a standstill. Unlike previous impeachments dismissed as political, this has genuine support from both sides, meaning a full trial with witnesses and evidence that could last months. Second, massive implications for governing. Cabinet officials and agency heads calculate whether to follow directions from a president who might be removed within weeks. Military commanders question whether to carry out orders from a commander-in-chief accused of betraying national security. Foreign allies wonder if intelligence shared with the U.S. is secure. The presidency weakens before any vote. Finally, institutional implications that fundamentally change how the presidency works. If Trump is convicted and removed, it establishes the Senate can and will remove presidents who betray their oaths regardless of party. Future presidents will understand some behavior is so serious that political loyalty won't protect them. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'm genuinely curious to see your perspective. Beyond the immediate political fallout, this represents a test of whether the constitutional system can still work as designed. The founders created impeachment as a solution for exactly this behavior, a president abusing office for personal gain and threatening national security. If the system works, Trump faces conviction and removal, establishing no president is above the law. If the system fails, if political loyalty wins despite overwhelming evidence, it shows impeachment is dead and presidents can engage in virtually any behavior without consequence. This scenario is causing absolute chaos within the Senate and throughout Washington. Reports indicate the Senate has been in nearly continuous session since the impeachment articles were introduced, with both parties holding emergency meetings attempting to manage their members. Republican leadership faces an impossible situation, pressuring Trump loyalists to consider conviction while preventing moderates from switching sides in numbers large enough to remove the president. Democratic leadership must manage expectations while ensuring their side remains unified. Meanwhile, the White House is in crisis mode. Trump has reportedly been meeting with lawyers around the clock, attempting to develop a legal and political strategy. Early statements from the White House characterized the impeachment as a deep state coup and claimed the intelligence evidence was created by enemies within the government. But polling conducted after the impeachment articles were released shows that 64% of Americans believe the Senate should conduct a full trial with witnesses, including 38% of Republicans. Things got worse when Trump himself addressed the nation on television Thursday evening. He denied all allegations, attacked Republican senators who supported impeachment as traitors and fake Republicans, and claimed the entire proceeding was designed to prevent his re-election. But legal experts noted Trump did not address the specific evidence described in the articles, focusing instead on general denials and attacks on the process. Stay with me, because what comes next will completely change your understanding of where this leads. Here's what makes Trump's position so dangerous and his response so legally risky. By attacking the Republican senators who introduced the impeachment articles, Trump is pushing away the very people whose votes he needs to avoid conviction. Senate rules require a 2/3 vote for conviction, meaning 67 senators. With all 51 Democrats likely to vote for conviction and 18 Republicans already committed, Trump needs to prevent 16 additional Republican switches. But by calling those 18 senators traitors and threatening them with primary challenges, Trump gives other uncertain Republicans cover to vote for conviction by framing it as standing up to a president who attacks his own party. Political analysts immediately identified this as a strategic disaster. Stuart Stevens, former Republican strategist, tweeted that Trump is doing the Democrats' job for them. Every attack on Republican senators makes conviction more likely, not less. Larry Sebato noted that Trump's response shows the same pattern we've seen before, attacking rather than explaining, which works with the base but pushes away the swing senators whose votes determine the outcome. This goes far beyond one impeachment or one presidency. It's about whether the United States can maintain a system where national security secrets are protected from being sold by those trusted with them. If a president can share classified military intelligence for personal profit without facing removal, then every future president understands that as long as they keep political support, they can treat classified information as a personal asset. That's not just dangerous. It's a complete breakdown of the system that has protected American security for 75 years. If this blows your mind, hit that like button right now. Here's the current situation. 18 Republican senators have joined Democrats in moving forward with impeachment articles against Trump based on evidence of sharing classified intelligence for personal gain. The Senate must now conduct a full trial. Trump faces genuine risk of conviction and removal if more Republicans join the group. And the entire constitutional system faces a test of whether impeachment can work as designed when evidence of presidential misconduct is overwhelming. This isn't political theater or partisan warfare. This is the closest America has come to removing a sitting president through the constitutional process since Nixon resigned rather than face certain conviction. When senators from the president's own party lead impeachment proceedings, citing strong intelligence evidence, when articles of impeachment include specific financial transactions and intercepted communications, and when even former officials who serve the president acknowledge the allegations are serious enough to warrant removal, the system is being tested in ways it hasn't been since the founding. Keep an extremely close eye on this story because the Senate trial will determine not just Trump's fate, but the future of presidential accountability. The trial is expected to begin within 2 weeks, with the Chief Justice presiding as required by the Constitution. Prosecutors will present the classified evidence in closed session, allowing all senators to review materials they couldn't see publicly. Witnesses will testify, including potentially the intelligence officials who briefed the Senate and the whistleblowers who reported the behavior. Trump's defense team will present their case, though legal experts note the challenges of defending against intercepted communications and financial records. And at the end of what could be a months-long trial, 100 senators will vote on whether to convict and remove a sitting president. Before we go any further, smash that subscribe button so you never miss content like this, because this constitutional crisis is happening in real time and represents the most serious threat to a presidency in modern American history. Here's where things stand right now. The United States Senate, for the first time in history, is controlled by a coalition from both parties seeking to remove a sitting president from their own party. The evidence they cite includes intercepted communications, financial records, and whistleblower testimony that senators from both parties describe as overwhelming. Trump's political survival depends on preventing additional Republican switches. But his strategy of attacking those who broke ranks appears to be speeding up rather than preventing defection. This isn't just another impeachment that ends in an acquittal along party lines. This is a genuine test of whether the constitutional system can remove a president who allegedly betrayed his oath for personal profit. What happens in the coming weeks will determine whether presidential misconduct has meaningful consequences or whether political loyalty beats all other considerations. The articles have been filed. The trial will proceed, and the nation watches to see if the constitutional system designed to prevent exactly this type of behavior will work as the founders intended. The stakes have never been higher for the presidency as an institution. The evidence has never been more concrete, and the constitutional crisis has never been more immediate. Pause for a second and hit that like button if you're finding value in this coverage.